Hey guys, this is Lucas's week on Bros from the Other Side. I've been having some major technical difficulties with my upload, so I'm gonna be doing it live. So yeah, here we go. Let me just start it. Hey guys, it's Bros from the Other Side. It's Lucas's week here, and so just straight up before we start this video, I'm just gonna say this whole video is about bees, honeybees, and beehives. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the reason why this video is about just honeybees is because we recently just had a swarm, and it's up really high up in a tree. So I'm going to show you a drone video of that right now, of this one right now. So yeah, that was the drone video, and now here's just a whole bunch about bees. It's about like 18 minutes to 20 minutes long, so get ready to learn.
This one looks like there's some honey to steal.
Alright, so these, that one small one's a honey super, right?
Yep. And it looks like it's not 100% filled, but there is some honey in there that I can take. So I am going to take it today.
So the two bigger ones are like where the hives are, where they like live, and then the top one, it's just for honey.
Just for honey, yep. You call the bottom two supers, you call those the brood chamber. That's where the queen lays all the eggs, and you know, whatever's down there you leave for them. But whatever extra they make is up here. And this hive gave me some extra, I can see it. But
so they work from the middle to the ends, right?
Pretty much, and see,
they
didn't do anything here.
Nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing here.
But as we get more towards the middle, there's probably honey in there.
Oh yeah, there most certainly is. This hat probably has a little tiny bit on it. It's glued in pretty good though. There's some honey in there.
A little bit of honey in there.
Not too much, but oh, I'm starting to break the frame here too. See if I can fix that. I don't want the frame to break on us.
So they just eat honey?
Yes, they do.
And sugar water?
Yeah. All the adults, all the bees that you see walking around, they just eat honey, and that's it. The pollen is what they feed to the babies. You're not going to see any pollen up here because this is all just honey. This one has more honey on it. That's got a nice.
So what is good honey? The ones with the closed capsules?
Well, you can take all of it, but they cover it with cappings when it's ripe. So this isn't quite ripe, but it's still close enough to where it's going to mix in with enough ripe stuff and be tasty.
Now, like some of the honey is lighter, and then the other stuff is darker.
Yeah.
What's that?
Good observation. The darker stuff is from different flowers. Basically, different flowers make different grades of honey. So darker stuff this time of year tends to be your goldenrod and your Japanese knotweed and stuff like that. And then lighter honey is from other types of flowers, like the, you know, the touch-me-nots, you know, those things you touch and then they explode,
Yeah.
the seeds. Those make a lighter honey.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good question. But here, actually, what I got to do here is I got to put this down gently. I got to get a box from the truck. Let's put that in here.
Just one clean one. No
Yep.
bees on it or nothing.
Actually, I'm going to take all of these and just put them in there. Turn these on there.
And then, so how do you get the honey out of there? What do you do with it once you get it home?
That I have to put into an extractor, and it spins it really, really. Basically, I rake the comb with a fork so that it starts oozing out, and then I put it in a centrifuge, a big extractor, and it spins it around in a circle really, really fast. And that throws all the honey out of it using centrifugal force. And then you pass it through a screen to filter out any chunks of wax. And then I put it in a bottle, and it's ready to eat. That's all there is to it.
So you shake the bees off and then wipe them off with that thing.
Yeah, whichever ones manage to hang on, get them off. Actually, what I want to do with this one is get rid of this wax, because I can harvest that wax, and I can make candles and stuff with it, which I will do.
So what he does is he scrapes off the wax off the edges. Okay,
Yep.
let's see if we can find some.
Yeah.
The wax that they bring back can turn into candles and chapsticks and whatever,
Yep.
whatnot.
And people also just buy wax from me because they make their own candles and stuff. So
That one's
ooh,
loaded.
that one is heavy.
How
that one's
heavy?
real heavy.
So it gets heavier the more honey there is.
Oh yeah, that's probably
Wow.
got a few pounds. That's probably got 4 or 5 pounds of honey on it by itself. And then we take it, we shake it.
All the
Get
bees
off
just
of there.
fly off.
Ooh, I got everyone off with that one too. Good
So
shake.
then like the wax
Yeah, you
is
see all
right
that
there.
wax there? That wax they were using to glue it to the bottom so that it didn't, move around on them.
So what
You can see-
happens is
You can see it was all glued in right there.
they glue it in so that when they come in to put the honey down, they don't shake it around and stuff.
Yeah, that's the idea.
So that's why if you see he has this little metal tool to pry things
It's called
off,
a hive tool. It's very much needed if you're a beekeeper.
and you can just stick it in there and pry them out.
Another essential tool is the smoker. Gotta have a smoker. It makes the bees calm so that they don't come up and sting you.
But the bees aren't that aggressive, right?
Bees are not nearly as aggressive as
Yellow jackets.
yellow jackets and white-faced hornets and all that other good stuff.
So the honeybees are a lot nicer.
Yes, they are. They can still sting you, and it still hurts. That was a pretty good frame. Not bad, not bad. Not fully capped, but definitely mostly capped.
So as long as you don't go after them and whack them, they won't hurt you.
Pretty much. They're pretty fair. If you mess with their home too much and they don't like it, they'll let you know. Just scrape this wax off. Getting a good wax out of this too.
There's also a swarm up in that tree. If you can see that bump right there. Hold on a minute. Right there.
Check your other videos for footage of that, right?
Yeah, I also took a drone video of that, so you'll see that. Either you might have already seen it. I'm not sure how I'm gonna edit, but so
And a little bit of here too. I'll take that.
so you just have like a little comb, like as you can see in the bottom corner right there, and then they add more comb.
Yeah. So basically, I put in what's called a foundation, which is this metal band with a sheet. Actually, here I'll show you. I'll show you on the next frame. And that is what the bees will. Here, let me go back right here.
So it's like a little base that they can build off of.
Yep.
And they can make
And they make the wax themselves here, like this.
and then they can use the wax to make little pods to put the honey in.
That's a good way to put it. See right here? So this sheet here, I put this in, and then the bees will draw the comb off of it, make wax comb off of it, and then once they get honey, they'll put it in there, and that's how they store it. So this frame they haven't really touched because they didn't need to. There wasn't enough out there to put in there.
You can just take honey off of it and eat it.
Yep. You sure can.
Just take a look of it.
But I don't want to do that to this comb because I'm going to harvest this and put it in jars for people and sell it to people. So I'm not going to do that. I'll see, here's another one that they didn't really touch.
Plain
Yep.
base foundation.
That's it. But now we're going to go into the brood chamber. I don't know, Lucas, if you want to film some of that. But let me just put this in the truck.
Yeah.
Let me get this out of here.
So this is sugar water, right?
Yeah, that's sugar water.
So this is sugar water, and he dumps it in there. It's something that the bees can have, and then these are the hives. But there's these white strips,
Yeah, just don't touch them because they're
and they're
not good for people to touch without
and they got
gloves.
like vinegar and stuff on them, and they kill mites off.
Yep.
What mites are? They're little tiny bugs, and they get on the bees, and they kill the bees.
They're actually related. They're actually in the same family as spiders.
In the same family as spiders. So what they do?
And ticks. They're like a tick on a bee. They suck the blood out of the bees.
And then it makes the bee wear out and die.
Yeah, and they can kill the whole colony if you don't keep them in check.
So what's this net in here for?
Good question. That is what's called a queen excluder. And that excludes the queen or keeps the queen from going up into the honey super. Because if she was able to go up into the honey super, she would lay eggs up there, and then you'd have brood up there. And we don't want brood up there. We want just honey.
So what this screen is going to do is it will not, like the queen is too fat to get through it.
Exactly.
And she can't get through to the honey supers. Like as you can see, those two boxes there, they are bigger and those are smaller, and just the smaller ones are for honey.
Yep.
And this is for the colony where the bees can sleep and where the bees have their home. But if the queen could get up to the top ones, then they would lay eggs in there, and you don't want that. You just want honey in there so you can take the honey to eat.
That's
So like
exactly
these
it.
boxes, they don't produce any honey that you can take. You can't take any honey from those.
No, you want to leave it so that they have enough to get through the winter themselves. They'll calm down in a minute. Now see all this wax here. I'm going to take all this wax,
Now there's all that wax too.
which I'm going to steal.
So
I'm just going to scrape this off.
just scrapes it and just put it down.
I'm going to take it, put it in my bucket, and melt it, and filter it, and make candles out of
all
it.
the wax down there, and just scrapes
There's
it.
a good shot of a drone. That's a drone. That's a male honeybee,
That's a drone.
and that's a worker.
So
Okay, there's the difference. I don't know if you caught
what
that.
does a drone do?
The drone is a male honeybee. The only purpose he has is to mate with the queen, so that more bees can be made. Oop, I just found something.
Something's on you.
Yeah, that one might be a little mad at me, so.
Just back up a little bit.
Cool. Calm them down.
So all of these look the same except for that one on the end. That's
the feeder, this thing here. So I can fill that up with sugar water, and that gives the bees a little boost. As the cold weather is approaching, we want to make sure that they have enough food. So I just stole some honey that they made from wildflowers, and they have a lot of honey in here as well. But you can never have too much food before you go into the cold winter.
Because once the winter comes, they don't want to come back out. It's too cold.
Yep, and you don't want them to starve. If they run out of food, they have no way of getting any food. So
Because
the idea is you just give them a lot of food now, and they can store it.
So see how the hives, they just have an opening down there. If it snows and the snow comes above that, they can't get out. So they have to have enough food in there to last them the whole winter. And if they don't, they're gonna starve and die.
Exactly it.
So, and they can't come out in that
Sorry for the smoke.
cold conditions because they only have so much heat, and then
Yeah, and besides that, there's no flowers in the wintertime anyway. So it's like they gotta get it now before it's too late.
and so the bees, they don't have like a heater, obviously. So how do they stay warm in the winter?
Oh, they have their own way of doing that. They can create their own heat by sticking together really, really close. And insects are all have exoskeletons, meaning their whole body is encased in a little shell. So if they get all close together and they flex their little bee muscles, that creates friction, which creates heat, which then they can all share because they get really close together. And they keep warm that way all through the winter.
So how many bees are in this hive, would you say?
This one, there's probably close to 50,000 total, but a lot of them right now are out in the field. Probably half of them, 20,000 or so,
All
are probably
bees,
out in the field collecting pollen and nectar right now. So
they all fly off and then come back with the pollen and nectar.
and the nectar, yep.
So where do they keep that pollen and nectar while they're flying around?
They have these little baskets on their backs of their legs, and if you watch long enough in the front of the entrance, you'll see them come back with it. It's hard to see, but you see as they walk in, you'll see some that have little orange balls hanging off of their back legs, like that one that's about to look. Well, it's hard to see, but
yeah,
there's one landing right now, and that's how they transport it. The nectar you can't see because they store it inside their body. They have like a little stomach that they carry the nectar in, so you won't be able to see the nectar. But
so why do you have to open up like these?
Well, I want to make sure that I have a laying queen and that everything's looking good. I'm trying to figure out which one swarmed up there.
Yeah, so you're gonna see a drone video of that. You may have already seen it, like I said before, but there's a swarm up there. It's a big swarm.
And the reason it swarmed is the hive felt it was too populated. So that hive is probably making a new queen, but probably doesn't have one yet. So I want to figure out which hive that was. Actually, I'm going to take this feeder right out of there.
So what they do is all the drones and the queen, there's one queen per hive.
Correct.
And the drone and the queen, they go up, they do their thing, they come back down, and the queen can lay regular bees, but it can also lay other queens.
Yep.
And she'll lay about 10. She'll lay like 10 queens, and then they'll all fight to the death.
That's right.
And the one that lives is the new queen, and the new queen takes some of the workers, and they go fly off.
Well, it's actually the old queen flies off. The new queen takes over the original hive.
So the new queen gets the original hive.
This is all honey.
That's all honey.
And I'm going to leave that in there because the bees need that. Look at all that. That's a lot of honey.
He's going to leave all that so that the bees can have that for the winter.
Yep.
It's starting to get kind of cool.
Yep.
And the bees are going to need that.
We're probably a month or maybe 6 weeks away from our first frost in eastern Connecticut. And when that happens, all the flowers die. And then it's, hopefully the bees are ready for the winter. Because that's pretty much all there'll be. Wow, there's actually a lot of food in here. They have a lot of food in this hive, which is a good thing. Now, yeah, this is the first hive I've opened. I'm just trying to see if I see eggs in here, then I know it wasn't this hive. Or if I see the queen, but boy, they got it glued down there. This is also a lot of honey. Boy.
So
this hive's got a lot of honey already. I might end up taking 1 or 2 of these, even though you're not really supposed to. All right,
probably can't see down there too well.
Let's put this down. It's loaded with honey, which might be why it swarmed.
So down here, that's capped honey, but then up here, that's all uncapped honey.
Yeah, that's fresh nectar that they brought in the middle. Right here, this is old honey. Watch when I stick my thumb in it. Look at all that honey come oozing out. And then I can do this.
You can eat it.
That's some good stuff. Good stuff. I'm starting to think this might be the hive that swarmed.
So how can you tell that it's swarmed?
Well, you can tell because you won't find any fresh eggs. An egg only stays an egg for a couple of days before it hatches. So if you have no fresh eggs, that would mean that queen is hanging in that tree instead of being in this hive. I got a feeling this is it because this. Oh, let's see here. So
what happens is she lays the eggs, and then she leaves. She doesn't see the new queen because she could be mistaken.
And actually, it's definitely not this hive because I see eggs.
No, so it's not.
It's not this hive.
So will
Definitely
there be?
not this hive.
Will you find bigger eggs, like bigger eggs that have broken open, and those would be the queens?
Yeah, you'll find what are called queen
What
cells.
about down there?
Yeah, that's kind of looks like a queen. That's like a start of one, but they do that even sometimes when they don't swarm. So they're not going to swarm because there's no eggs in those. But I do see some. It's hard to see probably on that video, but there's some fresh eggs in here, and this is some older larvae. And being that there's fresh eggs means that the queen laid those eggs at least a day or two ago.
Right there, the more orange.
So that must have swarmed from one of the other hives. And we'll figure it out.
So I'm going to stop the video here, and then I will take another video when we get to the one with the queen.
Yep. This is definitely the hive that's got bees hanging out of that tree.
So this hive swarmed because right off the bat, you could tell that there's not a lot of population, and there's very few new eggs.
Oh, wait a minute. Back it up.
Oh.
I got eggs.
Eggs?
I got lots of eggs. But I do still think this is the one that swarmed.
Okay.
Look, there's more queen cells on the bottom that are starting to get broken down. Like
there's queen cells on the bottom?
Those are old queen cells. See this right here?
Where are the queen cells?
See this and this. And see how this is like sticking out? And see how it's all cut right here?
Yeah.
These are old ones. That's evidence that they recently swarmed because that's where the new queens were raised inside those. I call them peanuts because they kind of look like peanuts.
All right. So what happens is the queen lays all the eggs.
But I do see eggs. Right?
And then there's a specific group of workers called the control bees. And what they do is they come in and they make the choice if they want to have a new queen and if they feel like the hive's overpopulated. And
yeah, big overall, Mike.
And so what they do is
on his back?
they'll change the egg so that it's queen bee. And then the old queen will realize, oh no, new queens are coming in. I got to get out of here. So she leaves along with a few of the other, some of the workers.
Yep.
And she'll leave and she'll go swarm off somewhere else. And then the new queens will come out and they'll hatch and they'll all fight to the death. And then the last one that lives takes over the hive.
You got that 100% correct there, Lucas. Good job.
So, and what is that stuff called down there?
That's royal jelly. That's what the new queens eat. They eat a special food called royal jelly.
And that's what makes them a queen?
That's what partially makes them a queen, yeah. Come on, get out of there.
So then these two holes here, that's where he's going to dump sugar water, which is that stuff down there. And it kind of gives bees just a little bit of a boost.
Yep, because the flow, the natural nectar flow is about to come to a close here in Connecticut. We got maybe a week or two left.
Okay, so now let's talk about this particular hive. So we saw the peanuts, we call them, that hatched one of the new queens.
Yep.
And so
more varroa.
She must have went out and mated with a drone?
With probably a bunch of drones.
Okay.
From the neighboring hives and maybe the hives that Adam Fuller has up the road.
Okay. And then she came back and she's laying eggs because you saw the eggs in there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So this one's already queen right.
Huge.
See, here's another old queen cell that's in the process of being torn down. I'm going to help them by getting rid of it.
So those are just huge cells that queens.
The queens need a lot more room. See this right here. Here's a good thing to show you. All of these, and see here's one that's starting to emerge. These are all worker brood. These are new workers that are going to come out. And see here's one that's actually actively chewing itself out. Welcome, and welcome to this world. Now, the queens, since they're so much bigger, they need more room to metamorphosize. Oh, is it off? No.
I don't know.
They need more room to metamorphosize, so that's why they have to hang those big peanuts that they're inside of, because they're so much bigger than workers. Let's see, that's one that's just coming out. But that was very fast turnover. I don't see eggs on this side, though.
So do you have to find the new queen?
I don't have to find her. I know she's in here somewhere. I'd like to see her. just because I like to see the new queens. But my guess is she went downstairs. But I can probably, since this hive is somewhat manageable, I can look around for her.
So what's the difference between a regular?
Look at that Varroa. There's Varroa all over this hive, though.
What's the difference between a regular worker and the queen? Like, what's the difference between color and body and?
Well, once I find her, I'll show you. The queen is a lot longer. She usually doesn't have any stripes on her, and she's much, much bigger, like I said.
Why does she have to be much longer?
Well,
Bigger?
because she's full of eggs. She gets swollen full of eggs. Because in the middle of the summer, she'll be laying, upwards to 1,000+ eggs every day. So that's a lot of room that's got to be inside her to produce all those eggs. There's another queen cell that's being torn. A couple of them that are being torn apart.
Big queen cell.
Well, they're getting torn down. There's another one that's almost torn down.
Queen cell.
So that's more evidence that was recently swarmed. There's one on the end too that's almost completely torn down. See it? That one right there.
Right there on the end. And then.
Oh, more Varroa. This hive is infested with Varroa.
So
you know what? You know why?
What is Varroa?
Varroa V. There's another one there.
What is that?
That's little red mites.
Yep.
And what do those do?
They will eventually kill all your bees.
So what do they do? They just.
They're basically like ticks. Like a tick latches onto you and sucks out all your blood. Well, that's what the mite does to the bees.
And those strips of medicine that he was putting in the other hive, those are what the medicine will kill the Varroa.
It's a miticide. It will kill the mites.
What is it? It's like a vinegar-based compound thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not exactly vinegar, but it will kill off all the mites.
But it won't harm the bees.
It won't harm the bees. Now wait a minute, where did I pull that out of? Is that all the way on the end?
So when he puts in the things for the mites and when he fills the tank up, I'll show you that.
Do you remember if I pulled that out from the?
So while off camera, I just got stung in the finger. It hurts a lot. But right there, that's the stinger.
My mom, your mom pulled it out.
My mom pulled it out.
And then see,
hold on, I gotta get the camera to focus. Hold on. Let me.
Oh.
That's what it looks like. That's my blood on it.
That's the stinger. And then see, when the bee stings you, it pulls out
its insides.
All of the bee's insides, the intestines with it. So at the end of the stinger, all that stuff is all its insides. And that's why the bee dies.
So
what stings you?
So the difference between a honeybee and like a yellow jacket is the yellow jacket can just keep stinging you and stinging you and stinging you and won't stop. But the honeybee can only sting you once and then it'll pull out of you and die. So that's what just happened to me here on my finger.
But the stinger stays inside you.
The stinger will stay inside you. You have to pull that out. But yeah, the bees are getting kind of aggressive right now because we're opening up their hives over there. So I'm gonna let them cool off and then we're gonna go back in there one more time.
And so I think also what makes it hurt too is the stinger, when it's still inside you, I think it pulsates and it emits the venom into your skin. And I think that's why it also continues to hurt.
Yeah,
so the sooner you get that stinger out, the better off you are.
And it puffs up and it hurts and it feels like fire in your hand. But so that's that. So yeah, I guess this is gonna be it for the bees now because the bees got really aggressive really fast and everyone's getting stung now. My mom just got stung in the head, but so we put that on and he's finishing up. So that's the bees, and he's putting in the sugar water for the bees. But that's the bees. So guys, that is all for Lucas this week. I will see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. So yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Peace out. So guys, that was the video. There were some technical difficulties where I couldn't upload it, so I had to do it this way. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know it may not be the best quality, but at least I got it up there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and see you later.